What is up, everybody? It's Aaron, Ray, and Ruben back again with another episode of Franchise Tag Fantasy Football Podcast. It was a, rough weekend for some of us, not so rough for others.
Not me. Not me.
Ruben will humble brag his way through the whole show about how he's just beating breaks on people, making the playoffs, doing things that
Big
I don't know
win
about
this
year.
week. Big win.
So,
y'all know about COD timing? Y'all know about COD timing?
Yeah.
You're like peeking around the corner, you're waiting for a guy, and then
you're like there for like 45 seconds because he's going off on your mini map the whole time.
And then you move up, and then bam, you get shot in the face.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how my fantasy week was this week. It's cool, putting up second most points, but I played against the top dog. It's all right. It's cool. It's whatever. I don't feel pain anymore. It's fine.
That's what you call as a bad beat.
It's sometimes it'd be like that.
It does be like that.
It was over already.
Oh, it's been over. It's been over. I don't know.
It's been over.
I put up a lot of points against people that put up a lot of points, and I put up no points against people that don't put up any points. It's crazy. It's sometimes my team is a good, sometimes it's a shit.
It's bibbity bobbity, huh?
Bibbity bobbity.
So, other than football, how's everyone's weekend?
It was fantastic, Aaron. It's fantastic.
I sense the sarcasm in his voice. Anyways, Rube, how was yours?
Mine was awesome, as usual. And
that's good.
Keeping up with the tradition.
Did you go swimming?
Swimming?
Yeah, did you go swimming?
I don't go swimming. I get in the pool to recover. Recovery.
Muscles. He massages those muscles. That's what it is.
I see. In case you guys don't know, Ruben is on the swole patrol.
No.
I can't stand you.
No, not at all.
I'm hanging up. I'm not letting that slide. Nope, not letting it slide.
See, Ray tries to act like he's big.
I'm not here. Big. I'm not here to listen to somebody call somebody else a part of the Swole Patrol. I'm not here for it. I refuse.
You want me to call you Scruff McBuff?
Whatever you want to call me, but just don't say Swole Patrol anymore. That's not allowed.
I say what I want when I want. Thanks.
You can drop all the F-bombs you want. No more Swole Patrol. It's off the table.
That was my golden ticket? You're kidding me.
Aaron, what you got for us today, man?
Let's hit up some news and notes and maybe recap a couple of the starts of the week because I know we were pretty hot this week as far as a collective whole. And then we will cover the desolate Sahara Desert of the waiver wire.
I know Rube says he's got some heat. I want to hear what the heat is. All right, so let's start with the news and notes here, guys. If you guys got anything else you want to interject with, please let me know. Tell me to shut my trap. Mike White, 2-start week 14. Mike MVP White, 2-start week 14 against the Bills.
Bills defense.
The Bills defense ain't that good. Just ain't that good. It's
not that bad, but they are beatable.
They're beatable. I'd say they're about the same as the Vikings. Still a bit the same.
And he wouldn't have been a great start if he didn't get that rushing touchdown. So
he'd have been all right. He'd have been okay. He'd have been a better start than Lamar. Lamar Jackson.
Wow, you can't say that because of an injury.
Been a better start than Jimmy
What
G.
a D-bag.
Been a better start than a bunch of people.
Yeah, hindsight's always 20/20, douche.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He just had a fine week. Just because he had a rush, just still had a fine week. It's fine. Lamar Jackson unlikely to play against the Steelers. I don't think that was.
He's out.
Yeah, he ain't.
He won't be back till regular real playoffs if they make it.
Baker Mayfield waived by the Panthers. Tell me, like at the beginning of that season, or beginning of the season, at the start of that trade, you're like, there's no way that the Panthers can lose on that trade, right? There's no way. They sent nothing to get him. If he doesn't work out, oh well. But God, they did lose because they released him. They just pissed away a 5th-round pick. Pissed it away.
I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody here was on the Baker train. I ain't gonna say no names, but
I thought he'd be better than what he was. Let me tell you.
Here was on the Baker train.
I thought he'd be better than what Sam Darnold was last season. Apparently, that's not right.
Oh no,
Sam Darnold wasn't very good. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. Ken Walker to have tests today for a jammed ankle. Not sure what that really means. Like, what is that? What is a jammed ankle? Like a jammed finger. I will say that during the game, for I would say 2 quarters at least, he wasn't even putting weight on his foot at all. Like he he was being helped everywhere he went. So a kind of serious ankle injury, maybe. I don't know. I'm still waiting to hear some more news about that. Brock Purdy is probably going to be the number one quarterback for the Niners next season. So there's that. Nah, I thought he looked good. What do you think, Ruben? Do you think he looked good?
He looked all right. I mean, he can't look any worse than Jimmy G. You know,
That is fair. 25 for 37, 210, 2 and 2 touchdowns and an interception. I mean, that's not bad,
No,
that's
especially against a formidable Jets defense.
and being literally Mr.
Or
Irrelevant.
no, he played the Dolphins. Sorry.
Yeah, he played the
Wrong
Dolphins. Literally Mr. Irrelevant as well. That's something to. Yeah, pretty cool. Jimmy G out for the season. Broken foot, broken feelings. Do they bring him back? Did they bring him back?
Just about to bring this up. Let's have a conversation. As a resident 49ers fan, Ruben.
Yes. Do we bring him back?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
What happens with Trey Lance?
I think we bring Trey Lance in, and then depending on how Purdy do, if he does well, he'll be the backup. Easy.
I can see a road where Jimmy G gets sent somewhere else. He goes somewhere else.
I
He'll
just
be a free agent, won't he?
Yeah,
he'll be
but
a free agent. I just think it's too many starting jobs out there for somebody not to want to pick him up to start.
like if he went to the Saints
Yeah.
Or the Panthers.
Or the Colts.
or the Colts.
Or the Seahawks.
It'd be funny if he's not going to go to the Seahawks.
I don't think they're going to ride with Geno. I don't think so.
Why not? He's free money.
It's fair, but
He's free money.
We can
right
discuss this in the offseason.
now. Yeah, he's free money. We will talk about it because let me tell you,
Or
the Seahawks,
Texans.
the Seahawks and the Lions are set up so well right now. So well. Because the Lions have the Rams first round pick, which is like, I don't know, what, pick 5?
3, I think, as of today.
Pick 3. Jesus Christ. The Seahawks have the Broncos first round pick, which again is
I
somewhere
think
in
it's
the
like
top 10.
2.
Yeah, it's like somewhere there. And they won those trades. Isn't that crazy to think about that? Like now, again, hindsight again rears its ugly little head, but God damn it, they were right all along.
Dude, could you imagine being the Broncos defense and for literally like 58 minutes of that game holding the Ravens to 3 points and then losing?
No.
I'd be so pissed.
How
Why?
did Russ? How was he allowed to leave the stadium? How was he allowed to leave the stadium? They should have just let them in there. Said, "Hey, look, you know those Baker commercials where you had to live there? That's what you're doing now. You don't get to go home to your 12 bathrooms. You're not allowed to anymore.
You don't get to go home to Sierra. Just hang out."
I told y'all a long time ago, Russ been cooking bologna for the longest time. And y'all don't even want to believe me.
He's walking the house and it smells like fried bologna. It just stinks.
Fried bologna in 12 bathrooms. 12 bathrooms still. The bathrooms are still in the lead on the season. I just want to give a shout out to that guy. 14 weeks in. 14 weeks in.
I think Russell Wilson through an 18-week, 17-game NFL season ties how many bathrooms he has in his house.
I don't know if he's going to get there.
I think he ties, and I think it's because like somebody just breaks a couple off for like 30-yard touchdowns.
That's
I
tough.
think it happens.
That's so tough. Jalen Waddle, he had one catch this week.
One catch for 4 yards.
He came into the week hurt. He left multiple times during that game. I don't know how many snaps he actually played. I didn't look that up, but definitely something to monitor. Do you guys actually know what the actual injury is?
Lower leg injury.
Nothing more specific than that.
Position,
Nothing specific. It's just said there. Lower leg injury.
That sucks. Hayden Hurst on the week-to-week train now. He's out. I don't know if that necessarily matters for fantasy at this point, but if you're dependent on Hayden Hurst, I apologize in advance. Aaron Jones definitely went out multiple times during this game, holding all parts of his legs. He gets tackled the hardest out of everybody in the league, I swear to God. But like the most disgusting ways he can get tackled. But luckily they do have a bye week. Plan accordingly. We're going to try and walk you through some waivers coming up. But I think this bye week came perfectly for what they're going to need for a potential playoff push if that's what they're going to do. But I think that's pretty much That pretty much does it for the news and notes from this week, guys.
I just saw an interesting fact as I was looking at more news and notes.
Yeah.
In 2013, Peyton Manning had 7 touchdowns in the very first game of the season. In 2022, Russell Wilson has 7 touchdowns through 13 weeks.
Did you also see that Geno Smith in the last 3 weeks has more touchdowns? In the last 3 weeks has more touchdowns in one game than Russell Wilson has in 3 weeks.
Jesus.
I would like to add just a monitor to his ankle.
Oh yeah.
He hurt his ankle at the end of the game, so they said he would have been fine to come back in, but just monitor it just in case you need to pick somebody else up. But yeah, that's really it. I would say we could talk about Sutton, but he's kind of irrelevant. So
yeah, I don't want to talk about that. I think that if once Jerry Jeudy comes back, maybe
he's back. He played last week.
He played the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many snaps he played, but he played for sure.
Because I feel like I didn't see him at all on the field. I watched a good portion of that game. It was,
Jerry
of course,
Jeudy had 80. Who'd they play?
The Ravens. Yeah, I didn't remember seeing him on the field.
He had 38% of the snaps. He didn't play a whole lot, but he was on there 4 catches or 4 targets, 4 catches, 65 yards.
I would, when we get to the waivers, I'm going to bring that up because I think that at least he might be worth taking a look at. If somebody might have cut him, could be. Anything else for news and notes, guys?
Nothing.
I got nothing.
I want to ask a question.
Sure.
What do you guys think of the whole Ram situation with Cam Akers and Kyren Williams?
I think it's Akers' backfield.
I would tend to agree with you on that one.
I mean, Kyren got no burn last week.
It's crazy.
I do think that Kyron's at least worth stashing for right now, because one thing that Cam Akers has shown is that he is definitely injury prone. So if you got room on your bench, if you got a large bench like I guess we do now, might be worth stashing for a playoff push. If Cam Akers goes down and now you've got a starting running back with the whole backfield there, and you need a spot start somewhere, injuries happen all the time, be worth having. I think he's a good enough handcuff to roster.
I don't necessarily believe he is. He's just going to clog up your bench personally.
Yeah, I mean, if there's other waiver wire, if there's priorities you have or need, cut him right now. Cut bait.
Do you start him in the playoffs, Raymond? If Cam Akers goes down, do you start him in the playoffs?
It depends, honestly, on who's hurt on my roster to put him in there. He's not a starter by any means. I wouldn't put him over pretty much any other running back that I would have on my roster. But if say I was in the playoffs and Dalvin Cook went down and there was nothing else on the waiver wire like there is right now, and I had him, then he has to go in your lineup. You know what I mean? Like that's how I see it.
Kyren Williams or DJ Dallas?
Kyren Williams.
Okay.
But that's kind of crazy because you don't know how hurt Ken Walker is.
One more thing I want to bring up.
Yeah.
And then we can move on. I'm done talking about the abysmal Rams team. DeAndre Swift is back, baby.
He is back.
He's back.
Woo, right in time.
Hey,
we are there, Rube.
Right in time.
Trade worked out for me.
I told you what was going to happen. I literally said it. It was going to happen. And look what happened.
Well, you put your stamp on Jimmy G too, and now he's out for the season. So I'm not going with
be the biggest DeAndre Swift hater and then get on the DeAndre Swift train.
I'm not on the train. I'm not on the train at all. I just said that this is what was going to happen.
That's fair. You're still.
He was going to continue to get more and more involved, and now he is. And now he is the offensive backfield outside of 5 yards out of the goal line. Yeah, once it's 5 yards from the goal line, you know where the ball's going. You know who's going to get it. You know how he's going to get in the end zone.
Okay,
that's fair.
And I can't wait for Jameson Williams to come back and see what
he should be back not this week, but next week.
Yeah.
He played last week.
Did he play?
Yeah. He had like 2 to 4 snaps, something like that. I
Okay.
don't know exactly, but he was in there. He was in there like the second play of the Detroit game.
The reason I bring that up is because you've seen how good Amon-Ra is when DJ Chark is involved there, because he stretches the field. That's what he does. It's the only thing that DJ Chark is good for. Now you put somebody that's much better at stretching the field and garners a lot more attention away from Amon-Ra. I think that offense is going to, I'm going to tell you right now, the Lions are going to be good next season. Lions are going to be, you mark my words, Lions are going to be good this next season.
Okay.
Mark them now.
I don't disagree with you.
I see it in the cards. It's tough. It's going to be ugly.
Is this where we come for a spicy take from Ray? Is that what's happening?
Maybe that's
Don't
what
do
it
it. Don't do it, Ray. Don't do it.
Don't ruin Lions fans' hopes and dreams. Just
Maybe the Lions
keep it in.
The Lions are winning the North next season.
All right, so they're going to finish last in the division now, guys.
Anyways, I don't know why you're saying that.
Anyways, because you put your bid on it.
That doesn't matter.
But that means in 2 years they're going to be great.
2 years, 2 years they're going to be lights out, right? A year early.
So let's jump into some of these starts of the week. I do believe I had Trevor Lawrence as my quarterback. Yeah. How'd that work out for us, guys?
Not well.
That's what I'm saying.
Not well at all.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, to be fair, 16 points. He didn't kill you.
I mean, that was he had a solid game. It was solid.
It's got to be
kill you, but
I think for quarterbacks, what is it? 12 points or 10 points? We say it was, and then for other skill positions, it's 8.5.
Yeah,
and that's a positive start. Not it didn't sink your week, but
it
didn't win you the week. Didn't
Definitely
win you the week.
didn't help you.
Yeah.
But anyways, what other quarterbacks do we have?
I had Jimmy G. Unfortunately, got hurt, and it looked like he was going to have a pretty good game. I mean, if Purdy did it, I would imagine Jimmy G would have. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm gonna let all the subscribers know if Raymond stamps a quarterback, they're probably going to get injured.
Or just,
all season.
Or just give you 4 points on the week.
That's how it's been all season.
So,
I had Derek Carr. I think he had like 17 points or something like that. So it was a solid start.
yeah, he had 16 in our scoring format. Once again, one of those things didn't kill you, kept you afloat, especially if you're streaming. So running backs. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Do I?
I'll start. Samaj AP Ryan.
That is true. He had 20 points.
20 points. I don't know what he was on the week, but he had to be top 5 running back on the week.
Let's look it up here.
And he had a nasty stiff arm.
I didn't on the phone.
Sleeper. Tough.
From all fantasy managers on Sleeper, can you please make the web app the same as a cell phone app so we can see finishes?
That would be nice. My start of the week was Latavius Murray. Again, not a great start. Not a bad start. Not a great start. But would have been a roster fill regardless. What do you have? Like eight? I think he was at 8.5 points.
In our scoring format, Rube, Samaje was running back 6.
Solid.
Yeah. Yeah, it was and honestly, you could see the process behind it. I mean, Mixon's out, he's going to go off. He was. So,
yes.
What about you, Aaron?
I had David Montgomery. Our scoring format, he put up 14.7, which was running back 12. So he still finished as a top 12 running back 1, which is, I mean, he didn't quite do what I thought he was going to do, but he still didn't. Good week.
Yeah.
Good week.
Yeah, same. Receivers. Let's talk about receivers for a second. Let's chit chat about receivers. I had Garrett Wilson as my start of the week last week.
Don't even say anything
he went
else.
Bananas.
He did go bananas.
I just want you guys to just really seal this in. If there is a quarterback that is not named Zach Wilson, Garrett Wilson is a smash start every week. If there is not a quarterback named Zach Wilson throwing the ball,
it won't be Zach Wilson. Don't even.
I
hope it never is. That's what scares me, right? Because I'm thinking about keeping him next year. I have to, right? He's a late round keeper, but man, are they gonna fuck around and put Zach Wilson back in?
Zach Wilson's been a healthy scratch.
They need it.
I think that they're just
scratch next week.
I think that what will happen in the offseason is, like we were talking about earlier, one of those teams that are really in need of a quarterback will probably try to trade for him.
Do the Sam Darnold thing.
I don't think that the Jets are going to want him.
Do the Baker Mayfield thing.
Yeah.
The Jets drafted him. You don't think they give him one more shot?
No.
It's
Not
only
seeing how someone like Mike White comes in and just commands the offense.
Mike White looked good.
Until he gives you a dud next week.
We'll see.
Well, yeah, the more tape that comes out on you, obviously the worse you're going to do. But the same can be said for Zach Wilson. I think, and you can ask Ray. I'm sure you've probably heard, Ruben. I've been off of Zach Wilson since BYU.
Yeah.
Before he even came into the NFL, I was like, this dude isn't an NFL caliber quarterback. Definitely not a first round, immediately starting NFL caliber quarterback.
No,
it's just a lot of capital to only give him 2 years.
I mean, that's fair. They did give Sam Darnold what, 3, 4?
What did Josh Rosen get?
6 weeks.
Yeah, he didn't get very much more than that.
Josh Rosen was buns though.
I don't know. I don't
think Zach Wilson's much better, honestly.
I don't think he is. I think okay. So the pros of Zach Wilson, he's got a hell of an arm, and he does have mobility in the pocket, but he can't do anything with any of that. He's looked god awful in every chance he's ever got, and he has weapons. He has a great receiving core, and he did have a very solid running game and a decent offensive line and a great defense.
Yep.
Yeah, but when he had Bryce. What's his name? Bryce, right? Bryce Hall?
Breece Hall?
Breece Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, Breece Hall, he was starting. They wasn't talking about taking him out. He lost Breece Hall and then
Michael Carter's not really a slouch either, though. But I mean, now Michael Carter's hurt. But I mean, Bam Knight, Xavier Knight this week looked really good.
Yeah.
Breece
good.
Breece Hall is different, though. Breece Hall is different.
Yes, he's way different. My thing is the Jets are what, 7 and 8 and 5 now.
They can't.
7 and 6.
They have to ride with Mike.
Because they lost to Minnesota. But they're 7 and 6 now. But they didn't get 7 and 6 with Zach Wilson. They would be worse with Zach Wilson. I'm saying they're 7 and 6, and I feel bad because I don't know if that's true.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Well, the reason I want to bring it up though is just because I know that the Garrett Wilson owners out there, like myself, we're all happy
7 and 5.
Now. We're pumped. 7 and 5 is pretty good. And then they're in the hunt. They're right in the mix. That division's tough.
They're technically like they're the 7th seed in the playoff picture, right? They're the last seed to just sneak in.
They're last place in their division too.
No, they're 3rd in their division. Patriots are in the hunt at last in that division at 6 and 6.
They have 6. I didn't know if they had 6 wins or 7 wins. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, full steam ahead. Garrett Wilson, full steam ahead. What about you, Ruben? What'd you have for your receiver start of the week?
I had Ayuk.
It's tough.
It sucks.
He still put up 7.1 or something like that, 7 points, but just not having Jimmy G there, hyper targeting him in the red zone. Yeah, kind of hurt. So,
and it seemed like this season Ayuk and Jimmy G have been on the same page a lot. Like they have been on the same page. So I like that start too. That's why I had Jimmy G in. The process was sound.
It was. My wide receiver start of the week was Christian Kirk. He finished with 15.4 in our half-point scoring score, and he would finish wide receiver 19. So, I mean, it was a solid start. My process was sound, just like with Jimmy G, Brandon Ayuk. I thought Christian Kirk's going to have a good game. It's going to boost up Trevor Lawrence a little bit. Not as much as you would have hoped, but the Lions got out to an early lead and just kept that pedal to the metal. So,
pedal to the metal.
Get it? Do you get it?
I get it. I'm here to listen to it, I guess, but reluctantly. All right. So what about tight ends, guys?
This is an abysmal category.
My tight end got injured. He was supposed to play tonight, but so I didn't really have a start of the week for tight end.
We'll give you Greg Dulcich. Go ahead, take that credit. Take that lap.
Not taking that.
I had Dalton Schultz. All tight ends suck this week. All tight ends.
Tight end 1 was 4 receptions, 42 yards, and a touchdown. Just so people know.
Was it Noah Fant?
Yes.
That's tough. Yeah, Dalton Schultz shit the bed, but all tight ends shit the bed. So I don't want to. I don't even want to I don't want to go into Foster Moreau. That's
I don't either. That was even worse.
Well, he got to his credit, he went out with a concussion for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I don't know, man. Dalton Schultz could have had a huge game. He missed like 2 touchdown passes in a 54-point game. You would think that Dalton Schultz was involved, right? No, wrong. I don't know. Defensive start of the week. So I think this is like if the defense had
30. What about 30?
Shut up, Ruben. Shut.
What about 30 points?
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns were the whole entire game.
Yeah, it'd be like that. I guess it'd be like that. Maybe Deshaun Watson should send like some sort of gift basket or like I don't know, like a massage gift card or something like that for the defense for him.
I
don't know.
I hate you so much.
It was always my thought process because I started Deshaun and he gave me nothing. But I was figuring I was going to get it on the back end with the defense.
You did.
So,
did.
It kind of worked out.
You did.
That was your quarterback of the week. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Seattle defense put up 8 points. I have a lot less points than I thought that was going to be against a Wolfert and Cam Akers led offense, but still 8 points is good
Somehow
enough.
they got it together. And I text you guys and we talked about it. I forgot what my defense was. I forgot who I picked.
The Ravens defense.
That worked out really, really well for me, didn't it?
I can tell you right now, but honestly, when you hold a team to 3 points, I mean, you can't really.
They only get 6 points.
I think that's the baseline for a starting defense for you. If you're streaming a defense, I think that's baseline.
They gave 6 points and they only had 2 sacks. They didn't They didn't get enough turnovers like I thought they would. But
Russ didn't want to give it over, huh?
he didn't want to move the ball either, so that works.
No.
When you go 3 and out all the time, it's hard to get sacks and turnovers.
Tough. All right, Aaron, you want to go to a quick break and then go into the waivers and then
let's do it.
Hey everyone, this show is brought to you by Driffles Jerky. Are you like us and love beef jerky, but hate paying those high prices for subpar meat? Well, at DrifflesJerky.com, they have the money meat.
You said the money meat?
That's right, the money meat. Great tasting beef jerky made from top quality cuts of beef at great prices. Use promo code franchise tag to get yourself 10% off on your order today.
That's DRIFFILLS jerky.com. All right, everybody, we are back. It feels good. I can't wait for the topic that we are about to talk about right now because it seemed to be like it was going to be a good one. I got a sneak peek in some of the topics, and we're going to talk about waiver wire quarterbacks first and foremost because I cannot wait any longer. So, who wants to kick this one off?
Aaron, who do you have as a quarterback stream this week? Who would you like to go pick up?
For me, if it came down to it, I think that you can stream, if you're like, say you're the Lamar owner and there's not really much else out there, I think you can stream like Derek Carr. I think you go pick Derek Carr up as a replacement. Might be able to viable. Yes, you're streaming quarterbacks at that point in time. But they play the Rams on Thursday night this week. Rams defense isn't very good. You do have to worry about week 15. You play the New England defense. Bill Belichick typically takes some people away from you, but I don't think that Bill Belichick's going to be able to take away Devontae. It's just me. And then they play Pittsburgh and then San Francisco in the finals. Those aren't the best matchups. I understand that, but he will at least buy you this week to try to figure something out against the Rams.
I can get behind that. What about you, Rube?
For me, it would be Mike Tennant. I mean, not Mike, but Tannehill.
Ryan
Tannehill. I'll take Tannehill. He's going against the Jags, and from what I've seen, they've been pretty lenient with the quarterbacks.
They also played
Jared Goff, 19 points last week. And it didn't look like they were getting any pressure, making them any kind of uncomfortable. So
they actually gave Jared Goff 23.5 points.
Ooh-wee. Jesus.
Yeah.
So
just solidifying that argument a little bit more.
I would stream Tannehill against the Jags. I am not afraid of their defense whatsoever.
They also, if you were going to have a multi-week streamer, Tannehill also plays the Chargers the week after that in week 15. If you needed to have somebody for 2 weeks for whatever reason, Always good to have a little more value behind it. I like that stream too. Now, I would like to preface this by just saying that I would like to throw out Jared Goff's name as well. I think that he's fine to stream if you needed to stream. He's playing against Minnesota next week. I don't think that after that I would like to put him in, but against Minnesota, he should have a good enough game. But the name that I really want to bring up, and I know that Ruben, he's been hating on it for a while now, Mike White. Mike White. I think that he is the guy to go get if you're going to stream a quarterback. Now, I get it. It's only 2 weeks worth of sample size, right? 2 weeks looking good. 2 weeks putting up 20 plus points. 2 weeks against mediocre defenses, right? He plays against Buffalo this week. Now, what does Buffalo do? They put up a lot of points, and their defense isn't that good. It's middle of the road, similar to Minnesota's. I think that Mike White's going to have to throw the ball more than when he did when he played against Minnesota. Now, if you're looking past that, he plays against Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle, and Miami if you're playing in a Week 18 playoff. If you needed him for that long, just value on top of value. What would be your rebuttal against it, Ruben?
That you don't want to be the person caught holding that bag when he give you 8 points. Because
Okay.
he's done it before. He's went off, what
Mhm.
was it, last year?
Yeah.
31 points, something crazy, and then came back and gave you 7.
It could happen, yeah.
Do you want to stream that in the playoffs? Do you want to risk going out in the first round, the second round, because you decided to go with Mike White for the Jets?
Say you were the streaming quarterback guy. Say this season, you probably aren't in the playoffs, I can tell you that. But if you were, if it just so happened you were,
Okay.
or you were the Lamar owner, Lamar's probably not going to be back for any point. You're not going to put Lamar in right off of an injury or coming back from an injury in the playoffs. You're not going to do it. There's no way.
You do. You do that.
You're crazy. You're crazy.
It's
There's no way.
Lamar. You start your studs. You do not
Yeah, you're
fit
starting
Lamar
no matter what.
for Mike White. Coming off injury or not. If he's playing, you put him in.
All right.
And if he gives you 10 points, then you go down with
You go down with the ship, huh?
yeah.
All right.
It's
Well,
kind of like we talked about last week with DeAndre Swift, or not last week, but last episode, where you playing him or you letting him go off on your bench.
so the reason I would bring up Lamar, and this is why I would want to talk about that. Lamar hasn't been that good this season. Since he's lost all of his weapons, he has no running backs that you give a shit about. He hasn't been that good. He's been a quarterback 14. That's basically his average for the season. Now, do you want to put in a quarterback 14 coming off of an injury in the playoffs, or do you want to go and ride the hot hand? I would rather ride the hot hand and bet on the.
Give me the known commodity of Lamar Jackson.
I'm gonna take the safer floor.
Okay. But do you think that Mike White, in other situations, if you're just streaming quarterbacks, if you happen to put in Jimmy G this week, or if you were, I don't know, throw out some names if you wanted to, maybe the Trevor Lawrence guy that you were streaming, would you feel more comfortable starting Mike White this week
Then
against
Trevor
Buffalo
Lawrence,
than Trevor Lawrence? Let's say Trevor Lawrence.
Who
no,
does Trevor play?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. I'd play Trevor. Tennessee's
Okay.
pass defense is terrible.
Jared Goff or Mike White?
Jared Goff.
Yes, I take off.
Okay. All right. I would take Mike White in both those situations.
I'm just saying, if Mike White didn't get that rushing touchdown, he gives you 14.
I
And,
think I would go Mike White.
and what does it look like if they're not trailing the whole game? If their defense does what they need to do they run more or do they pass more?
But for that same mindset, he got that rushing touchdown. Had Barrios just caught that last second touchdown, he would have had 26 points and been the quarterback, 5 on the week? 6 on the week? So it goes both ways. I just think that he's got enough talent around him that it's like it's hard for him to fail. Now he could, yes, absolutely. He's a backup quarterback. He could fail. I just think it's hard for him to fail.
Just last thing I would say is just remember how Flacco looked the first couple weeks, and then he fell off the mountain too.
That is true.
I'm just saying.
I don't know. No, I'm not saying
Just
it's not.
saying.
Look, if you're in the boat of streaming quarterbacks, this whole season has been scary for you. So you've already been in this situation, you know? I just like I like his matchups. I like his weapons. That's just how I see it.
I would agree, but this Buffalo game's going to go one of two ways, right? It's either going to go Buffalo just completely blows the door off of the Jets and gets out to a huge lead, and Mike White starts forcing the ball and making errors like we saw in crunch time against Minnesota, or Buffalo's going to do like they did against Detroit, play down to their competition, keep it close. No one's really going to have a great game because it's going to turn out to be a low-scoring game where the running game for both teams gets going and neither one of them really have to throw.
So you don't see a possibility of Mike White having a good game. Okay. I would take a beer bet again this week. I said I tried to do it last week. I'll do it again this week. He will have 14 points or higher.
That's an average quarterback bar.
That's
I'm not gonna do that. Baker Mayfield can do that.
Yeah,
That's not a good week.
You're trying to give me 14 last week, and no, I wouldn't take 14. Like that's
14 didn't kill you.
But you're saying he's going to have a good week and be a streaming category. If you're pushing to make the playoffs, you need a deep shot that's going to give you 25 points.
I'm not going to give you a 25-point line. That's ridiculous.
I'm not
give me a 20-point line.
I'm not giving
you give me a 17.5-point line. I'll take that.
No,
it's right, it's right in the middle of both of us.
No, it's not. That's almost guaranteed to be a quarterback one.
16.75.
No. Take the 14 and be out.
So you're telling me you play in a 12-team league. Let's say this for example, and you're recommending Mike White as a starter, and you won't give him a quarterback one line.
Why isn't 14? Why are you so hell bent on not doing a 14-point line? Because I'll be
right. You're not gonna be right.
So then take it.
That's a low line. If you're recommending a streamer in this category, you need a quarterback 12. Mike White will not finish as the quarterback 12 this week.
Deal.
Okay.
Deal.
Beer bet done. That's a better line. See how that works?
Deal. That's good. That's better. Way better.
Took us a minute to get there, but we got there. So, all right. Are we ready to talk about some running backs? Just ready to stop it.
Sure.
Or do you have any more quarterbacks? Anybody got any more quarterbacks?
No, that's it. That's all I
have. No. For me, running back, DJ Dallas.
Okay.
I thought you wanted to talk about Tyler Huntley too, but
I was thinking about it, but I was thinking if Lamar hasn't been too great, then Huntley.
He could. I mean, I think it's a good DraftKings lineup. I think that's what it is. But
he could be, but I don't know. I was iffy on that guy. But like I said, DJ Dallas, especially if Ken Walker is out, is somebody that I would prioritize, especially if Ken Walker's like your number one back. And you need somebody to come kind of make sure you can put in the lineup if he is out this week. That would be my main running back for the week. Unless go ahead.
How much fab would you spend on DJ Dallas right now? Let's say you had 50 fab left. How much fab would you spend on him?
I mean, it all depends on where you at.
You are the Ken Walker owner.
What your bench looks like, who you got on your bench. It's just all what your league looks like. But I mean, maybe.
Let's say you let's say you were to need him to make the 6th seed this week. You need him to pick up a win to make the 6th seed.
If you need him, then you blow the bag.
That's fair.
Okay. If you need him. Like if that's somebody you need and you're trying to make the playoffs, then what are you going to take your fab with if you're going to be in a loser's bracket?
That's fair. That is fair. All right. I would say if you're in that situation, and I would say probably 20% realistically speaking.
If you're the Ken Walker owner, I would spend at the minimum half of your fab. Minimum.
50%. That's fair.
I would agree.
That's fair. All right.
Mine is more of a stash. I think that it's because there's not a lot out here, honestly. Not a lot. But Dontrell Hilliard, I think it could be a stash if you're the Derrick Henry owner.
Okay.
Outside of that, Matt Breida still, we're going to keep talking about him until somebody puts him on your bench. But that's it. That's all I have.
Okay. Rube, you brought him up last week. I'll bring him up again. Jordan Mason for the 49ers. I think he will end up being a flex play just because, as we said, Mr. Relevant, the last pick of the NFL draft, is now the quarterback. I think Christian McCaffrey got 80-something% of the snaps last week. He was getting worked to death. But I don't think that the Niners are going to do that in order to try to keep him healthy.
Nah, yeah.
So I do think he's a good play. Deeper leagues, like say 14, 16, 18 team leagues, I think same principle applies to Kyle Juszczyk. Even though he is technically a fullback, he plays in the running back spot. He does catch the ball. He does get some work, but that's in like super duper deep leagues. Those would really, he would probably be my main kind of, like Ray said, stash. Another stash candidate you could probably look at would be, I'd give Kenneth Gainwell a shout going into the fantasy playoffs. He's pretty electric when he gets the ball, and Miles Sanders, as you saw last week, which they threw the ball whenever they wanted to and just imposed their will on the Titans, but. Kenneth Gainwell does have that explosive capability.
I like Jordan Mason.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Looking at it a lot. I didn't know he had 51 yards. I didn't know that.
I would say take a look at your waiver wire and see if Xavier Knight's still out there. He's only 55%. He's only owned at 55% of the league. So if he's out there, you got to go get him.
That is very fair.
Also, just to make sure that you're checking to see if these names are still floating around, just in case. I would say I doubt that Rachaad White's out there, but again, 84%. Take a look. See if people have dumped AJ Dillon. You might have got lucky. Somebody might have dumped him. He's 79% owned. So, he hasn't been shit until this week. So maybe they get back from the bye. Aaron Jones is sat, and you now have a bell cow running back. I don't know. Those are the two names that kind of stand out to me right now that I was like on the top of my head.
Last one for me. McKinnon. Somebody gotta grab McKinnon.
Yeah, he needs to be rostered.
He's on one of the highest powered offenses in the league. He shouldn't be on your waiver wire.
No. Definitely not. I busted out laughing. I watched a lot of that Cincinnati KC game. I busted out laughing when McKinnon ran into the back of the lineman and just fell down. He just the lineman didn't even move. I just started laughing. I was like, oh my God.
McKinnon is 51% owned too, by the way. So there's a good chance he's out there. Good chance. And if you got a spot, might as well put him on your roster.
That is true. That is true. Go with running backs.
Yeah. That's it.
All right. For wide receivers.
Raven's not gonna like this, but Corey Davis.
Don't you dare.
You gotta get Corey Davis.
Don't you dare.
What do you mean don't you dare? There's not too much out there, and if you need a wide receiver, you gotta go with Corey Davis.
10 targets, 5 receptions, 85 yards.
Like, he's getting the targets. I don't see the Jets leading too many games. So they're going to have to throw it to somebody if it's not Garrett.
And he is 19% owned. You guys wouldn't be interested in Elijah Moore over Corey Davis? It looks like Corey Davis is the number 2.
No, I would not.
It looks like he is. I was just asking to ask. I really wish that Juwan Jennings was on a different roster. I really wish he was. Because I like him. I think he's really good. And he's just kind of washed out by other players that are just better than him. I don't know. But he's not a name I would pick up. I was just looking around. The only name that I'm looking at right now that I kind of care about at all is Curtis Samuel. And he's 66% owned, so he's probably not available. But other than that, I mean, you're going to have to see who was actually dropped. Maybe Van Jefferson in a deep league. Mm-hmm. I don't even like that. But he's the only show in town. He's the only pass catcher they got. So I wouldn't pick up any of these people with any kind of pressure. They would be like free waiver wire, free agents.
Desperation.
Yeah, free agents. Yeah, this is all that's all that is.
I want to bring up Jameis Williams. Check to see if he has been picked up or not yet. That's be a stash for a couple weeks. But if you don't play if you play in like a home league and not necessarily savvy fantasy players like us, where everyone's pretty active, see if he's still out there. Go pick him up, put in a waiver claim for him. I would like to bring up Tyler Boyd. I know that he's 79% owned in most across the sleeper platform. but he is still actually available and out there. He scored 8 points even with dropping that touchdown that hit him right in the face mask. So that's not a bad shout to stash and hold Tyler Boyd. Jamar Chase looked good when he came back, but who's to say that he doesn't re-aggravate his hip or something like that going forward?
Or
Yeah. And then another name that I would like to bring up just because he's on a high-powered offense is Isaiah McKenzie. You have seen him steadily take over the snap counts throughout the season. He is involved. He reminds me of him and Gabe Davis are kind of in the same boat to me where they're both boom bust plays just because Stephon Diggs is that guy in that offense. But he's 39% rostered. He didn't kill you last week. He gave you 6.5 points, 5 targets, 5 receptions, 44 yards. But like the week before against Detroit, 10 targets, 6 reception, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Like he has that capability. So he's more of a hold and matchup play for me.
Go ahead, Rube.
I would like to bring up something that's not necessarily in the receiver range, but going back to running backs, James Cook, he's 31% rostered.
Oh, really?
31% rostered, and
Yep.
he was getting a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you,
this
I left
last
him on the
week.
bench too.
So if he's out there and you have a spot, pick that man up. Who are you afraid of? Naeem Hines.
You're not afraid of
Singletary.
you're not afraid of either one of
Like,
those other running backs.
There's nothing to be afraid of, and if he
I like
pops,
that.
he pops.
Yeah, if he goes off, if he actually takes that job over and he is the guy, I wouldn't say league winner, but man, he's going to help you out a lot. But to piggyback off of what Aaron said about Jameson Williams, this is just a kind of caveat, and I think this is probably the number one receiver pickup. He's out there. So I'm looking at DJ Chark's stat lines when he actually plays because he's been hurt all season, right? He basically gets about 6 to 8 targets a game. He's sitting around, so basically 7 targets a game, right? 6 to 8. You give those targets to a much better receiver in Jameson Williams, you're looking pretty good, right? I think that's a real good shout. I like that pickup.
Yeah.
Especially for what the waiver wire looks like right now.
I'm glad that I could pique your interest, per se.
Well, not my interest because I have the sun god himself, but
Well, that's fair. But I'm glad that I could bring something up that you were like, hey, I agree with that one. Can we talk about how Alvin Kamara is almost through the first half of football and has 1 point for fantasy?
Shout out to Alvin.
Oh, my God. Sorry, I just clicked on our league thing and just saw it, and I was like, this is
Beautiful.
abysmal. This is such a horrible season for this guy. So let's roll into the worst position known to man if you don't have Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews this year. And let's cover tight ends.
I'll reluctantly say his name again. I'll reluctantly do it.
Go ahead.
Cole Kmet, but he's 73% owned.
Bet. Greg Dulcich should probably be streamed in the streaming category. He had a big week this week. I understand that he's hit or miss, but that's because of Russell Wilson. He's kind of like Foster Moreau, where I think of him as the category of he's not necessarily going to kill you, but he's also has the opportunity to at least finish as a tight end 1, which that's not saying a lot, I know, but
You guys aren't interested in Noah Fant, are you?
No. No, not at all. No, not at all.
He's so talented. Why does he have to be on a team that doesn't use him? Why?
Not at all.
So he's 19% owned. I wouldn't do that.
For
All right,
me,
you got it, Rube.
for this week only, I would say Hunter Henry. He plays Arizona.
That's fair.
Like
Okay,
Arizona is
All right.
Point.
the worst versus tight ends, and they got to throw to somebody.
That's
They
fair.
got
Who plays
Myers.
Seattle this week?
They have to throw to somebody. So I would say Hunter Henry. And then I'd keep an eye out on Evan Ingram. He gets a lot of targets.
Yeah.
That's the name I was just looking at too.
He gets a lot of targets.
47% owned.
What you want from a tight end is somebody who's getting play, running routes, and he's obviously doing it. So I'd look out for him.
Yeah. And Hunter Henry is 34% owned, so he's most likely out on your league for sure. Most likely. Because he's on ours, and he's going to stay there because I hate Hunter Henry.
So I want to bring up another name too that I just thought of. Daniel Bellinger for the New York Giants. outside of Saquon, they don't really have anybody. He got involved, got injured, missed the last 4 weeks, 5 technically because they were on bye one of those weeks, but his first game back, 5 targets, 5 receptions, 24 yards. Not the greatest, I understand, but he had 4.9 points, which is still I think he finished in the top 15 tight ends this week. So he is involved when that offense has no one else to really throw to. So that would be my other name that I would like to bring up.
Yeah, I like that. Let's move on to defenses and let's get the hell out of here. Well, I can tell you right now, I'm not going with the Houston Texans defense. Just not going to do that. Even though people don't pass against them, I don't know why. Like people can pass against them, they just don't have to because they're already up by
everywhere
so much that it doesn't really matter. I'm taking a look at Denver's defense here, but they are playing against Kansas City, so I don't like that.
Nope.
I
would. You want to know my defense?
I would look at the Raiders.
That's where I was going to.
They played the Rams. They played the Rams.
I said
this week too.
Seattle.
This week and this week only, I would look at the Pittsburgh Steelers defense because Lamar's probably going to be out.
Yeah, that's a good play.
TJ Watt coming off that edge should disrupt a little bit.
And then you might be able to get away with Cincinnati.
That's what I was looking at there too.
You know, Deshaun Watson didn't look great. So, I mean, that might be a good play.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really all I can see out there. I wouldn't play anybody else.
Yeah, I'm looking around. I don't particularly care for a whole lot of anything else. I mean,
we're getting to the point of the year where everyone's starting to hold 2 defenses just to mix and match through the playoffs, and stuff's starting to get real thin between injuries and people holding stuff for playoffs.
To go off what Aaron just said, if you are in the playoffs, you should be looking at defenses to stream now and getting them on your team and holding them instead of trying to fight for whoever you're playing that week to get that defense. So, like, for instance, I'm in the playoffs. I went and got the Chiefs defense. They play Houston week 15.
Yep. Because, I mean, go ahead. Sorry, Ray.
The Jets play after Buffalo. This would not be a week to play the Jets. Wouldn't be. But the week after this, they play against Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle, and then they finish with Miami at week 18, but you don't have a week 18 playoff because you're not a heathen.
So the Jets would be a stash.
The Jets would be a decent stash. Like not a great stash, but a decent stash.
Yep.
I think
to put in perspective, if I played in a league that I made the playoffs in where we had defenses, because the one league I play in that we have defenses and kickers, I did make the playoffs. But if we did, I would drop Kyron Williams for a defense this week to get them on the cheap rather than just hold them and like we talked about earlier and wait and see
and hope.
Wait and hope. So it's a good point, Rube. Good point to bring up. Thank you. But anyways, guys, we got any other things to talk about?
Nothing that I would like to. Also, if you're not going to be able to play them for 2 weeks. Maybe next week we start really talking about it. But Denver, if they're out there, they do in week 16 play against the Rams. That might be just to get you past week 16 to get you into the championship. Denver's defense has been lights out. It's all Russ. So against the Rams, I like that. I like that start.
Yeah.
Looking forward.
Who's on bye this week? Green Bay and who?
Washington.
The Saints.
Teams on bye this week. The Falcons, the Bears, the Packers, the Colts, the Saints, the Commanders. So after everyone we just talked about this week, please plan accordingly. Sucks because they put a big bye week before the playoffs. So if you're trying to hope to stash and hold, you might have to be paying up for next week after buys.
Yeah.
So, but all right, guys. As always, please use code franchise tagged for 10% off of your order at drifflesjerky.com. Please join the Discord if you have any sit questions. Ray's laughing, but he'll be over here typing away, texting as he's playing Call of Duty tonight. Answering questions. I know you will. You always play. You don't do anything else but answer YouTube comments and play Call of Duty.
I live in my mom's basement. That's it.
So follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Last episode didn't get uploaded because it had an encoding issue where I couldn't get it to process, but that's not y'all's problem. And as always, guys, please hit hit the thumbs up. It really helps the videos and the algorithm. Hit the notification bell so you know anytime that we go live or drop new content. And as always, click that subscribe button. It helps us out the most. It is DeAndre Swift season, and until next time, we will see you later.